Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about the VBC Firebolt DM2 front suspension. Now, when I build my front suspension, regardless of what platform it is, if it's a touring car or a 112 scale, I want to make sure it is bind free and slop free as well. Now, in this situation here, the Firebolt tends to generate a lot of binding in the suspension arm, and you don't want that. You want to make sure that the suspension arm is moving freely throughout the suspension travel, like so. Now, in order to get this movement like so, I had to do a couple of things in order to get the suspension to move freely. Now, the suspension arm design has at one end kind of like a little stopper point here. And I understand the reasoning for that. You don't want this suspension pin to, slide right through and fall out. Now, it poses a problem because when you put the suspension pin in all the way, the suspension pin starts to stick within this area. Now, there's really no reason to have the actual, closed end here, because you already have a set screw which will push down on the suspension pin and hold it in place. And so what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've drilled out this section here. Let's see if I can move it so you can see. So the hole is now open, and I just used a body reamer to open that hole up enough, and then I went ahead and I used an arm reamer, which is a 3mm in diameter. You could probably just use a 3mm drill bit to make sure that the hole is nice and cleaned out. Now, before doing this, the suspension arm, when I actually tightened down this set screw here, it was just binding. It wasn't functioning properly, and so I thought, well, I'm gonna have to do one thing, and that was, removing the one end here and clearing that out and making sure that the pin slides smoothly back and forth. And I've decided to just use the actual set screw to hold the pin in place. And, I've tested this setup just using like a wrench, just putting a bit of force on the actual set screw, on the actual pin, just to make sure that it doesn't slide out, and it works just as fine. So if you are having issues with your front suspension arms binding, just do this modification where you just drill out this section here and clean it out to make sure that the pin slides through nice and smoothly. Now the thing is, you don't need to have the pin slide smoothly through this section here. Just at these points here in here, that's where the arm will be pivoting on. It's because this set screw will be capturing and holding the pin in place to prevent the pin from moving. So just this section and this section here. Just make sure it's nice and smooth, bind free, and you're good to go. All right, bye-bye.